Hello everyone, this video is sort of an experiment. European UAP news. From time to time I may cover the important things happening recently in UFO or UAP fields worldwide and how or even if Europe is noticing it. And philosophers from ancient Greece, they used to say that to get to the truth, you should not listen to a monologue. You should discover the truth through dialogue. So I'm not here alone today. And I invited someone you may already know. It is Georg Boch, who was here for the very first episode here. But let me just briefly say, if you don't know him, that Georg is from Berlin, Germany, and this year he already organized one very important event. It was European UAP Disclosure Summit. It took place online, and if you are interested, you didn't see it, there is a recording of it. I will link it in the description. So, yeah, that's for the beginning. And let me welcome Georg. Hi, how are you doing?
Thank you, Jan. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm also doing pretty good.
Great to be back on this special channel.
I know you've been a bit busy now that you were in Frankfurt on a conference. So, will be interesting to hear how it was.
Yes, last weekend, Saturday, August 23rd, there was the Alien.de. So it's a German website dedicated to all things ET here that has been really important in the community of UFO experiencers and researchers here in Germany for many, many years. And Martin organized, like every year, a get together in Frankfurt at I think there were around like 80 to 100 people that came together, and we had a day of kind of keynotes on subject, and you can learn more about that at alien.de. Well, it was all in German, but to those who are German speaking, it's interesting, and I believe he will we release the recordings as well. It was very much a mixture of diverse fields, which was interesting to see. So, people who come more from the experiencer side, people who come more from the energetic, uh, even Reiki healing side, people who are much more interested into Erich von Däniken, which has a big standing in Germany, pre-astronautic, people who are more from a very much nuts and bolts data analysis, like the GEP, this German Society for Extraordinary Encounters in UFOs. There was a speaker there. And there was also the Austrian podcast of UFO TV, Harald Havas and me. And I did a little TED talk on, European disclosure and what my thoughts are on why actually Europe would be the perfect place to disclose first, the perfect institution to disclose first, if we get our act together.
It's interesting that the Germans love Deniken because it is similar here in Czech Republic that, before the Soviet regime fell and we had a communistic regime here in Czech Republic, there were released some books from Deniken at that time, and it was something that people were sharing with each other, and it was kind of the first thing that people found out. And I would say that still people really enjoy his books. So especially the older generations, like let's say people around 50 years old, Deniken was kind of first guy who opened this field here in Czech Republic.
Yeah, I would say the same thing is true for Germany for many, many people. And I think, Ancient Aliens is a very famous TV show in the US, which also builds on this theme that they've been here before. And if they've been here before, they might as well be here as well now. It's a very fruitful path to explore.
Yeah. And what did you feel on the conference? What was resonating a lot right now? What is the hot issue, you know?
Well, in hindsight, it was very helpful to go there and for me to get clarity on the issue because one of the points I was making is, yeah, right now we don't have UAP disclosure in Europe.
Hmm.
Uh, and people were saying like, but we have all these great conferences. We have in Würzburg, the EFEX, you're right now here. We have the GEP. We have all these very dedicated, scientifically minded associations that for many, many years have been gathering data. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not UAP disclosure in my understanding.
Hmm.
UAP disclosure is that people in the government, like in America, are investigating the fact that there have been unconstitutional, illegal projects for 80 years obfuscating the reality and the context and technology associated with UAPs and NHI. That's the definition of UAP disclosure to me.
Hmm.
And the scandal is not that after 80 years we kind of still don't know what the intention is of these different species, or if there are different species and so on and so forth, and all the details. So that's not the scandal to me. The scandal to me is that in the US, there's a clear political movement and political clarity on high levels, like Chuck Schumer, Eric Burlison, all these people that are writing again, trying to do the amendment, the UAPDA legislation for the third time. And they have clarity on the fact that there has been this illegal secrecy. And we don't have that clarity here in Europe. And I'm sure there has been also illegal secrecy.
Yeah.
So that's what my definition of UAP disclosure. That's why I say there has been no UAP disclosure, because it's a good thing that we have one university that does research in the field. But the point is, we're trying to catch up on 80 years of heavily funded illegal projects that know so much about this biggest transformational event in the history of the species, and we're not being let in on the secret, let in on the reality, let in on the technology, and that's the scandal. And that's why we need UAP disclosure, I think. So just that it helped me getting the clarity that UAP disclosure is distinct from ufology in that
Hmm.
sense.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely, yeah. I mean, it is the individual researchers, experiencers, then the academic sphere, but the whole kind of political thing is totally missing here. So that's right. So that was the main thing that you felt that people are kind of frustrated on the conference.
No, actually, it wasn't so much discussed at the conference, but coming back from the conference, I got clarity in comparison to the American conversation. Like, for example, even the
Mm,
Soul
mm,
Foundation,
mm,
which has a very, very balanced view. If you look at the recordings of the Soul Foundation from last year, the panels there, for example, there was a clear talk by Eric Davis and others. Okay, yeah, we're sure there are these programs of crash retrievals and so on and so forth. That's kind of the level of insight and clarity in America.
mm.
And that's kind of not the conversation we're having right now here in Europe for many reasons. And there also doesn't seem to be so much of a pain point associated with it for some reason. So
Yeah, you're right. And it is also interesting to see the discussions about the Free E Atlas that
very
has
much so.
been discovered. I mean, it's coming. And I will be curious about how it was presented in Germany, and I can tell you how it was presented in here in Czech Republic. I mean, it felt to me that the professor Avi Loeb, he made the kind of hypothesis again that it may be maybe a spaceship or maybe something like Voyager, something looking for data from ETs. And the media got quite crazy about it. They made it into a huge deal, and that way it actually even got partially to some Czech news, not to the biggest mainstreams, but you could know about it. And I sometimes translate these interesting things on Czech Twitter, and I had interesting conversations there that because the club of Czech skeptics kind of responded to me, and they were kind of making fun of Professor Avilov that again he's making some accusation of ET spaceships, and I was trying to a bit defend him that it's just like a hypothesis, and because right now nobody really knows what it is. It can be stuff, who knows? They were saying that it is strangely emitting more light than it should, that the trajectory is very suspicious, and so on and so on. So why not open to possibilities when we don't have the answer yet? And so what I kind of felt like that, the skeptic and some academics also wrote me there. They were quite not big fans of Avilov. They were more kind of discrediting him in some ways. But yeah, it is a bit resonating, and I'm very curious what will happen if we get more info about it. I hope we will.
Yes, I also was very surprised by the amount of coverage this got in Germany.
Hmm.
Even it seemed like a big PR campaign to talk about this. It was in TV news, it was in the big German newspaper Die Zeit, an article about Avi Loeb and his research. And even though it's not like a clear result that was delivered by him, it's not like Beatrice Villarreal, who wrote this, published this paper she had been talking about for a while, on stellar objects, basically being there in the 50s, and this connection to atomic weapon tests and stellar objects that are not satellites, they're not stars, so they must be artificial. So that's real news. That's real communication. And I think that should be reported. But what Avi did at this point is speculation. And so I was surprised that it got that much attention, which makes you think, is there a purpose behind getting this much attention on it? Because, when there is like actual testimony under oath, where we had twice, David Grush and then the other hearing, Elizondo, and so on and so forth, we didn't get in the German press at least
Hmm.
any real recognition that there were these senior officials under oath in Congress officially doing their testimony. Nobody cared. But if there is speculation, all of a sudden the European media cares a lot. So I found that very confusing.
I was thinking like if it would be some ET spaceship or something like that,
Mm.
if you are some ET civilization, that how would you announce that you are there without making people super scared and so on, not to show on the sky? And maybe to show from such a distance would not make such a, panic or something. But it is, we're still in the speculation, but I just had this kind of realization.
It's an interesting mental exercise to think about what would kind of ETI disclosure look like
Hmm.
in a manner that is totally disassociated or even kind of circumvents the entire illegal secrecy history of actual UAP sightings, interventions on Earth. Like to the normal mainstream person who is kind of thinking all this UFO stuff is not founded in any real data, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, like the commentators, like saying, okay, yeah, it's all, mythos, it's nothing real. There's no there. For them to get kind of acquainted with the idea, maybe there is some new civilization that's now for the first time coming by. Maybe there's some AI satellites that can come through here, and now we got one, and oh, it's very interesting. I think this is a very powerful way to do soft disclosure.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
if I would try to do soft disclosure, probably you would come up with something like this. Because as you say, it's non-threatening. It's not too close. It's not here. It's not in your bedroom.
Yeah.
It's not in Area 51. It hasn't been here for 80 years. It's out there and it's just passing by. It's not even going directly to Earth at this point. So
Hmm.
maybe it's. I mean, let's not forget that Avi was at the UAPDA. I mean, sorry, the UAP Fund
Yeah, that's right.
event on May 1st. He's associated to the political community that wants to get funding, wants to get recognition, wants to get political movement on the subject matter. So he's associated to that field, which makes me think maybe his hypothesis is also kind of politically motivated. And so one can argue: is this a good thing or is it a bad thing for disclosure? Uh,
Yeah.
what is your sense? Is this good that he makes this? Is it helping the overall public to get acquainted with the subject matter, or is it a distraction from the actual UAP disclosure that needs to happen?
I would say that the UAP discussion is can be super wide, so this is just another piece of it. And I actually really like what Professor Avilop and even the other professors like Diana Pasulka or Gary Nolan and the others. I think it's important and it gives it. You mentioned that there are politicians in USA who are taking it seriously, and it helps the cause. And it also helps the cause that there are such a professors who take it seriously. So it is both great to me. Yeah. And speaking of the official disclosure, it seems that we have a date for new congressional hearing in USA. It seems it will be 9th of September.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Mhm. And it is speculated that there will be 3 to 5 people speaking there. And let's see who will come. I'm afraid that it seems like there will be nobody who was in the black programs or something like that. So that's a shame. And I kind of have a feeling that one of the people who might be speaking there might be Matthew Browns, because yesterday he started his X account. So I was like,
He's
interesting.
also on Substack now. I mean, on X he
Ah,
has been longer, but I think you started blogging now.
yeah. So, that suddenly we can hear from him like what happened.
Hmm.
It is a bit suspicious that he came up again. I mean, originally to mention he was from Jeremy Corbell and
George,
George Knapp. Yeah.
yeah,
And he had some interesting things to say. And let's see if
very interesting. He's my favorite whistleblower of the year.
really,
To
yeah.
me, he and David Grush are my favorite because they're our age, they're our generation. So it
Hmm.
makes him very relatable.
Yeah, that's right. I guess. Yeah, they both of them are quite young. That's right. Yeah, and what do you feel about the this hearing that is coming up?
Well, I'm excited about it, but we don't really know what's going to happen and what's going to be like. Danny Sheehan released some video today. I can send you, we can include it in the show notes here, where he kind of outlines the plan for September when the political system in the US gets back to work, and that there will also be the kind of internal screenings of age of disclosure to certain political
Hmm.
um, to members of Congress in the House, because this September hearing is, of course, part of the process of trying to get the UAPDA, so this legislation that has been attempted to pass twice now, end of 23 and end of 24. And so that's kind of what is at stake here, that the quality of the testimony in 9th of September will also help or not help um, the people in the House, from what I understand,
Hmm.
of representatives, with their vote to make it pass or have it fail again. I'm talking about the 60-page legislation that outlines, eminent domain, so the right of the government to kind of get back all the crash retrieval items that were outsourced to private companies
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. It's a larger discussion, but a lot is at stake.
Mm.
Yeah, there's going to be a hot fall, and there's also going to be the European Soul Symposium in October,
Yeah.
and then in November we're going to finish strong in Prague at your conference.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, not my conference, but yeah, Czech conference we have.
Yeah.
Looking very much forward to it. Mm. And I'm very curious how the European media will take the new hearing in USA. Did you notice anything else in German media or European media since we didn't speak about UFOs?
No, I think the Atlas thing, the three Atlas, is the only thing
Hmm.
that is on people's radar if they're not totally in the subject, if they're not already kind of briefed.
I would say here also only this, but for instance, I was wondering if the Beatrice research will get some coverage here in Czech Republic, and not really. However, we have one big YouTuber in Czech Republic with like, I don't know, 100,000 subscribers, and he's covering UFOs from time to time, and he spoke about it, so I was happy that at least somewhere we have coverage of this. But yeah. Mm, it would be nice if Beatrice would, I mean, be her research would be more discussed. I tried to even suggest it to the people who were skeptic about Avi Loeb that there are other people who are researching these things, and I linked her research, and I didn't get any response yet. But I guess I may not even get one. But yeah, I guess it's quite hopeful with her.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be on the case at the Seoul Symposium in October, where there will be a representative of the European Parliament, Fabio De Masi,
Mm,
who has, as you know, expressed interest in the subject matter, and I'll be hard at work at the breakfast buffet trying to talk to him about his opinion on this and
mm,
hopefully getting him on the show. And if he is eager to do another UAP hearing
mm.
like we had last year with Francisco Guerrero, who is no longer in the European Parliament. And so I think that's the next necessary step that such a hearing in the European Parliament is scheduled.
Yeah, I really hope that the Self Foundation will release again, some parts of the things online on YouTube or
Sure, they
something.
have always done, so
Yeah,
I'm confident that they will as well release the videos one by one, like
yeah, that'd be wonderful.
afterwards. Yeah.
Not everybody can come, but it's wonderful that this will again push it to the another
Yeah, yeah.
dimension level. So there's lots of things to look forward. The Soul Foundation in 2 months. I actually even found that next week, no, or in 2 weeks, there's some conference in Finland. If you guys are from there, let us know if it's something big. Then, as we mentioned, the conference in Prague. So yeah, lots of things are happening now, and let's
Yeah.
hope
In
it's
September, there's I forget the
fire.
date, but there's the IFEX, IFEX
Yeah, the Würzburg.
in Würzburg by
Yeah, yeah.
university professor Hakan Kayal, who is researching UAPs in the German-speaking world.
I actually noted it here that it is in Würzburg, 17th till 19th September. And I actually was in communication with him. I definitely will join some parts online, hopefully also in person one day.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll make some video there. So
Awesome.
yeah, exciting times.
Let's put the links to those conferences in the show note, and let's get together again after the hearing on September 9th to check out what our opinions are on that and what it means for Europe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So thank you so much for joining
Thank you
me,
so much.
and I'll be happy if you guys let us know in comments if you like such a format, and maybe it can be more often. So let us know.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.